We had told the public that we would be streaming these budget meetings, so we are streaming now. I know that two of our members are at the city school board meeting, and so they'll be getting here as soon as they can, but they've got a lot of issues that they've got to deal with. But I think we'll go ahead and start since we were trying to start at 5:30. So we'll go ahead and kick it off right now. And I don't know what you have first there, Clint, but we'll go in whatever order you have.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Yeah, we can start with, I guess, Mayor, just in case Clerk Moss comes in here in a second. So I think that's the second in your packet, paperclip together. You should have all the operating expenses in front of you. Obviously, we reduced several lines. I don't think there's really anything to note. I can go into greater detail on like organizational dues and membership dues, which are our two largest items in our budget. We have one capital item, and that's just a computer laptop replacement. I'm not entirely sure that that's going to be completely necessary. It's just one will be ending its typical lifespan at the end of next year. So we just want to be prepared in case that laptop does kind of flounder. I recently got one. The office manager for the mayor's office, mayor secretary, has gotten one. So just popping that capital item in there just in case. But yeah, not entirely sure it's necessary. But I'm available for any questions if anyone has anything on operating expenses.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. You've got a drop in health insurance. Is that because, I know it's not because we're losing somebody, is that just there's less of a need for health insurance, I would assume? Yeah, from 151 to 1, or 98 to 85.
I don't have my speaker on.
So that's based on the
They
current.
actually have, that's single coverage rather than family. So
Okay.
when you see health insurance, that's always going to be very, very flexible.
Okay. Your operating budget, I know you asked a lot of the departments to drop theirs 5, 10%, up to 20%, and the mayor's office actually went up $4,000, which isn't significant, but
Are you talking about the overall budget or just the
other,
the others?
yeah, the other, which encompasses all those things. That's the operating budget for the mayor's office.
So one thing with the mayor's office, and I haven't really dug into each one of these budgets individually yet, like the mayor and I will meet and we will go through everybody's line item after meeting with you line by line and reevaluate, relook at quotes and relook at past history and make even more cuts. But I do know that we've had some increases in our telephone costs. So there is a little bit of increase there. What was the other thing that I do know about? There's also a request for a computer, which is $2,500, but that's not part of operating.
Yeah.
So we will be taking a closer look at that.
Okay. Yeah, I just think if we're asking all the departments to take cuts, that we should be setting the example at the top as much as we can.
Yeah, and I know the mayor has consumed some additional bills such for the, like, their telephone bill went from just the mayor's office to the economic development people
Right.
as well. And then there was also an additional lease to cover the different departments that are combined with him too.
Okay.
But I will take a closer look at that. And then the last page of the mayor's budget, you'll see the list of personnel. The mayor's budget personnel, it covers, not all these people are included in his payroll per se. You'll be able to see that down there. It includes HR, IT. So I just did them all on one paper, but that is broken out amongst other people's budgets.
Okay. And the mayor's clerk is actually the HR?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yeah. That's
just-
the way it's written in the codified ordinance. It's all
Right.
combined. So I kept it combined here. But like when you see the HR and IT department, their salaries are separated out.
So did you want to do, so just in that department, the only thing you have is a laptop. Okay. Then the other items are economic development. Okay. Good.
You want us to move on to economic development because the director for that department's here. We're going to be swapping in and out. I guess I'll be back up, but she's prepared to speak with you more on that if you guys want to stroll right into that, since it is all in the same pamphlet.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hi there. So what you should see before you, when you get to down to the operational expense sections, there should be a deduction of around 20%, and that's when you take out any of the prior ARPA project funding. So that'll be spent and out of the way. Typical operational expenses with printing and all of that has been decreased. We did pop in some extra funding when it came to telephone and things like that, since we are utilizing a lot of the mayor's office expenses for those things. So phone and printing and supplies and some of that stuff. But overall, there's a general decrease of, should be right around 20%. And the only capital would be, I'd echo what Clint said about the laptop. Popped in some money there just in case it's necessary. Don't know that it will truly be. And then there's a 1.02 million in special projects. I think that's where it's put. That is for 2 grant awards that we have already been awarded. I have the award letters. They're reimbursable, 100% reimbursable projects that will be coming. If they'll be next year, if not totally finished next year, it would roll over to the following. But we have to show that we have the funds in order to get the reimbursement.
Okay. And the splash pad, did I hear correctly that that has to wait until the rest of the park is done?
Yeah.
So it
that's-
probably won't actually happen till late next year or
Yeah, it just
the following
it
year.
depends the way that's a HUD funding, and the way HUD operates, the way they aggregate projects would make it very complicated with the current ACGP projects going on. So
Okay. Then the other one is a SS4A grant. What?
Yeah.
120,000. What is that?
that's through USDOT for a planning grant that we received for a comprehensive safety action plan. So we applied for that. It's been over a year ago. And that will, it's not, that project hasn't taken legs yet. We've yet to put out an RFP or anything. We're very close, right before the shutdown happened. So working back and forth with USDOT on it, but it would be a safety action plan for within the city limits. Any some studies that we can do on safer streets, safer intersections, any further road guiding that the council would be interested in exploring, and that is 100% reimbursable. And that would hopefully lead to and set us up well for future grant funding to actually implement some of the findings from that study.
Okay. Help with, like, right now we're looking at speed humps as ways to control traffic or speeds that may offer some other options. Okay. Sounds good.
I just want to go back to the mayor's budget because I did just find an error in that, which is why there's an increase. If you look at the second page of that budget, vehicle insurance, there's a wrong calculation in there. It says 7,296, and that's probably going to drop to about 500. So right there is $7,000 saving in the mayor's budget. So that will be corrected. That is a number that I calculate, so that will be fixed.
Thank you, Auditor.
All right. Thanks.
We could jump up on the second page. Actually, there's a special programs for the mayor. So that's where the firework budget comes out of. So we do have $20,000 there for next year's firework show. Typically, that show's $50,000 show, but we thanks to the Rotary Club here in Chiillicothe, they usually fill the gap by raising donations. I just want to not forget about that fund.
Okay.
We can jump back to the beginning to do council's budget. I worked with Clerk Moss on this. You guys have an easy one, so just didn't want to forget about it. And if you guys have any questions on that, it is 010710 is your guys' fund number.
And I assume that the insurance is because we don't know who those people are going to be next year, so you just budgeted the high amount. Okay.
Single coverage only. However, some council people don't take it. So I just assume that the full council is taking it whenever I'm preparing this budget. So
Okay.
that may drop.
Okay. And I know during this course of this year, we had a lot of discussions about having the proper equipment to do our jobs. And we talked about needing laptops or tablets. I don't know that would make the final cut as we're going into a tight budget, but how does anybody else feel, at least kind of looking at that as an option as we're moving through the budget, and probably be one of the first things to get cut. And if nothing else, when we have money next year, if we have money, we could come back to it.
One thing to add about that is during COVID, now these aren't going to be like brand new fabulous laptops, but we did have funding to purchase laptops for people to use at home. So we do have the availability for people to borrow laptops or like sign them out and keep them for their term or whatever. So we do have some laptops available, but I'm more than happy to include that in here until we figure it out.
Can we look at those two options, Clint? Maybe just talk to IT and see if that's an option, if they could get those up and running and assign them to each council member, so we have something to do the work on.
The ones they currently have or new ones?
The ones that currently, I mean, if it's doable. If it's not, then we'll look at new ones, or maybe that way we would only have to buy 2 or 3 initially, and then we could rotate.
Yeah, we may not have enough for everybody, but they
Right.
have been like very lightly used. I think several council people have used them before, but
Okay. Yeah, that's a good cheaper option, especially with a tight budget. At least start us moving that direction, then keep looking at that in the future. Thanks.
Yeah, seems
Well,
reasonable.
but I assume we're going to leave the budget as it is till we figure that out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes.
I mean, I think we leave it where it is, and then we go ahead and take a look at what's available there and see what we can utilize. Just so everybody understands what we're talking about is there is a lot of communication that goes back and forth, and not in a way that violates any public meetings, but there are notices and lots of information to get provided by the public to the council people. And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about use of laptops and things like that. So
yeah, it would just be good for us to do all of our official work on a city computer
Sure,
system
IT would
versus
agree with
doing our own.
Definitely.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, the only significant changes you guys had, I added a significant amount of money in advertising, 7627, just because there were a couple advertisements you guys needed to make in the paper, public notice. I think the veterinarian discussion was one of them, for example, that had to be put in the paper, and that was paid out of the city council Another thing was meetings, increased that slightly. Just to encourage everyone here to attend meetings or conferences they would like to go to. Clerk Moss did one of those this year. And also reduce telephone, which is where you guys pay for your internet out of. That was
Thank you.
No, I went through that. It looked pretty good, and they were able to cut 20% in their operating costs. So is that 26 additional on the 40 that's under subscriptions? Okay.
And that cloud was actually approved within this budget. That's just the annual fee to do it, but that will do away with the server and give us a lot more security on that. So it was a recommendation from the state and
Okay.
from,
So we won't have to replace servers
no.
for that. So that'll,
The only thing we'll have a server for is like the backup of our computers, like our drives and different things. But
Okay.
we won't need as big of a server. All of our financial data, all the utility information, all of the information will be protected. So
If you could just mention to them that there's also a committee assignment dealing with streaming all of the committee meetings, and whether that's going to entail something different than what we've got set up here, or how that's going to work. If you just ask them to look at that so they know what we're looking at relative to that. I don't know that it affects the budget, but I suppose it could in some way. So you take a look at it. Thank you so much.
and HR is right underneath IT. It's built in the same little packet there. The title just says IT, but it is HR included.
it is.
Physical expense, typically it's $1,000. Take that out of the budget for next year. Same thing with our capital expense. We typically hold that over just in case one of our computers goes down and we can replace it. Do anything about it. But I think we're good.
the other thing, totals, we ran then I could ask for a little more, almost 5,000 for doing complete those kind of things. Here, or and then you just never know when someone's going to
So if you're not paying for the physical expense of new hires, who's doing that?
So we're, I am paying for it, but we're yeah. To the company here, police.
I don't think that mic's working, so we're going to switch it out real quick.
Health insurance costs go from 38 to 60.
So my assistant,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, he turned 26 and has a son. So
Got it. Now he has to have insurance. Okay. Makes sense. I figured that it was something like that, but I did
Yep.
just make sure that it's the right number. Okay. So you're still paying for the physicals. You're just doing it out of
Yes.
outside contracts
Yes.
instead of out of
Yep.
physicals. So we're just moving that money to another place. Okay. And you had no capital items, so
no, we took that. I usually carry like 2,500 over or close to it just in case if we need a computer.
right.
But we seem to be good on that right now. And if we're not, I'll be back.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. All right. We're good. Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Is Parks and Rec next? Parks and Rec.
So what you received here was the 5-year plan that we wrote last year. We wrapped up a 5-year plan in 2024. As I stated in that one, it really turned out great. We actually accomplished everything that we set out in the 5-year plan. Probably don't always do that. So we started a new plan, new 5-year plan in 2025. So we are now 1 year into that 5-year plan, and we have updated it. Figured everything considered, probably a good idea to update this plan with the fact that there's been some economic changes in the community, big economic changes. We're going to have many new projects completed with the $35 million Appalachian grant. So it was a good idea to update that 5-year plan. So then you have, of course, the 2026 capital budget that in there. Most of these are necessities for for our department. As stated in the update, we really don't want to start any big projects right now until we let really the dust settle from the Appalachian Grant projects and see what is the best way to spend our capital now that, we have all these great projects completed. So we're just, we're getting by with what we need. I appreciate the Bobcat, all the work the auditor, her office, council did so we could buy that. That is an invaluable tool for our department. It does 99% of the heavy lifting, which is very great. We just need one computer. This is for our crew leader that is on the go, does a great job updating everything. Our small power tools, we go through those. We use a lot of those. Weed eaters, maybe a smaller chainsaw, push mowers, blowers. They're all come in handy. The trailer, a new trailer, as we have a necessity to move equipment more since we are at Pepsi, not right in the middle of the park where we used to be. We're going to winterize our mule. This will really help us out during the wintertime, mainly snow removal, but some other projects that we'll work on. Of course, we got to pay off the good old Pepsi building. The ball field improvements, I took this position 10 years ago. Nothing had been done to anything in the annex for a long time. 10 years ago, till we started doing some things. We focused mainly on the South Diamonds, and if anyone's down there, those are four of the best diamonds you ever find. You won't find a better 4-diamond complex anywhere than those diamonds. Now we're kind of moving north to the north quad, so to speak. They're pods of 4 diamonds. The fencing was put up in '84, and so it's old. They haven't got much use. So we're looking at expanding and just making that better. It's nice. I know a lot of the council members, maybe particularly Councilman Bent, knows the biggest problem we have down there right now is parking, where we're going to accommodate everybody. 10 years ago, you couldn't drag anybody into that annex. You could park wherever you wanted. So it's nice to go from, just what was nothing more than a field to this nice complex where, we got people coming and going and a lot of great activities down there. So we're going to look to really try to help the North Field now as much as we did the South. Our landscaping, it never stops. I want to say this, and I'll be wrong. I think the pool will stop. I think if we can get this 26th year in and get the final repairs, it's a 52-year-old pool. So, but I really think we'll be far ahead of the game, and we should have minimal expenses in the pool after 26. And that's something you got to think about. I'm just, this is not talking about me. This is our community, what we've done. I would challenge anyone to go out and see if you can find this far north, 40 degrees north of the equator, a pool that's 53 years old that holds 750,000 gallons of water. They just aren't built to last that long. And we've worked on it and babied it and had support from many different groups and council. So I'm really proud of that. The lake maintenance, we've started with that, keep it going. That's one thing you do not want to fall behind on. If you would get algae down that lake, it would just be a nightmare to deal with, a nightmare to get rid of. So that's kind of our main goal, is to keep all algae out of that lake and to keep it a good fishing lake. I mean, a lot of people go down there and fish. The firemen hold a great fishing derby down there that we're so appreciative of. So yeah, a lot. Once again, something that hasn't been repaired in over 40 years. Our restroom doors down there, which, as you can imagine, probably get a lot of abuse, so to speak. But so we're going to put in this, state-of-the-art doors, this heavy duty, built into the framework, make it a little better than we could ever imagine. So to keep those restrooms good. I mean, it's just been so nice. Once again, when we took over 10 years ago, not a single water fountain in any park worked, not a single restroom was operational. As we started operating the restrooms, the traffic was low, so the vandalism was still very high. But as we've fought the vandals with our cameras and different things, and the traffic has been picked up, that has helped us so much. And of course, we still have issues, don't get me wrong, but nothing like it was 10 years ago. So it's going very good. The Koppel agreement, this is a nice agreement. At the time, I don't know if it's still true, we were the only city-county joint park operation in the state. That was true 10 years ago. If that's still true today, I don't know. But it is nice that we have that. Something everyone likes, the geese
What
removal.
is the Koppel agreement for? You got a lot of new council members here.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Koppel agreement, that's our share for the maintenance at the Koppel Park, Koppel Athletic Field. And we made that agreement with them when we came as a joint operation 12 years ago. Was that sound about right? It was pre-me, and I've been here 10 years. So I'm going to say it's about 12 years ago we had that Koppel agreement. The geese removal, this has gone great. Everyone, I think, has been very pleased with that. I know some people have been interested and wanted to talk to actually Jason, who was here to start out. Now he's had the people that work for him. He will be back here sometime next week. I said, let me know, and I will send out word to council people that, hey, Jason will be here Tuesday at noon if you want to go down there and talk to Jason. He's a very, very knowledgeable, very entertaining type of guy. I think anyone would like to say he's dedicated to his job would be an understatement. Anyone, I will pass word when he tells me his exact day he's going to be here. The playground mulch, that's always kind of hit or miss. Certainly is mandatory. We got to keep a certain level for safety reasons. And of course, even if we weren't required to, we're going to make sure we keep the playground safe. So I didn't want to say, Bonner wants to, he's only doing it because he has to. We would definitely want to keep her safe. But you just don't know from year to year how much is going to get scattered around, kicked around, and whatever. Then our equipment, as our repairs, as our equipment gets older, we need more of that. And then we go to our, this one of the greatest groups you ever find, the Tree Commission, and all they've done. And most of that $7,000 will be reimbursed through the grant that they have. They're still working. So just can't say enough of them. So if anyone has any questions, Kathy.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row mine hasn't worked. Though when we're talking about playground mulch, are you talking about just in the park here or all of the parks?
Well, it's for all the playgrounds in the park as needed. Yes, it's for every playground.
Have we considered, if we're spending this amount of money every year on mulch, have we considered doing the poured?
There's the port.
I know it would cost more up front, but
it does, and how we've looked at that. How long? Obviously there was a more initial cost, and the life. Once again, with that, it depends. The lifespan of that type of it varies a great deal, and you just can't. It's hard to predict. I know it is frustrating to spend that much on mulch every year, but it is a safety factor, and we can always look at other options. We'll definitely look at other options.
only because if we're talking 5 or 6 years, it would pay for itself.
Right. Definitely. If it would last 5 or 6,
It'll last 15 years.
Okay.
Most of it will. But if we could just look into that.
Sure. We'll look at the padding. We'll look at that type of padding.
Thank you.
For our playgrounds. No problem.
The winterizing the mule.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about winterizing it to put it up for the year?
No, winterizing so we can use it during the winter month.
Oh, so
Putting
you're talking about putting a snow blade and stuff on
Snow,
it?
snow
Okay.
blades and, encased, plexiglass, frame around it so they can stay warm in the winter.
I understand now.
Yeah,
When
some
you said
winterizing so we
$9,000
can,
winterize, I was like,
No.
wow.
so we can use it during the winter.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
question, thank you.
Okay, so you got 37.5 for pool repair. Is that because you know you need to spend that much on it, or is that just you're blocking that money out for
No,
those
that's-
repairs?
We have, then no, those would be for, it's hard to believe, 2 diving boards. The lowest estimate we got right now are $16,000. This is for the steps leading up to the water slide, and this is for repairing the tiles that are on the gutter system. Those need to be replaced, or not all of them, but some of them need repaired. We're looking, and this, I mean, that sadly is kind of a low. We're hoping that we are going to do the tile repair on that. There's also some work that needs to be done, not really hard work, but on the depth markers that our insurance company has reported us. They reported we had to fix the tiles. They reported that we need to upgrade our depth markers, and they will tell us, they didn't tell us, but they will tell us that we need to replace the diving boards because there's a safety issue, and then the steps leading up to the water slide. So to get all that done is going to be more than 37, but I'm hoping that we can do the tiles pit repair in-house.
Okay, then let's move on. Lake maintenance, what does that include?
That is working on our aerators. That is giving it treatment the stop algae and the muck at the bottom of the lake. It helps your lake just maintain a healthier environment.
Okay, I'm going to look at Crystal here for a second. I'm not sure that's a capital cost or if that's an operating cost. Lake maintenance, keeping the algae out of the lake. If we're replacing the pumps, that's a capital expense. If we're doing lake maintenance, that's not a capital cost. That's a maintaining and repairing, which is an operational cost.
Yeah, that one could actually go either way. So we'll look at that and then determine if we need to move that one. But you're right. If it's something that makes it continue to work, then it would be capital. But if it's maintaining something, then that is different. So I'll take a closer look at that one.
Okay, next I'm going to move down to geese removal. I'm not sure that's a capital cost either.
I'll look at that one too.
As you
Okay.
look at that, it's just
Thank you. Playground mulch, I think it is if we do what Kathy's talking about, but if we're just buying mulch that's only going to be there for 6 months to a year, that's not a capital item. But I think what Kathy said is a prime point is that we need to look at long-term cost-effective options versus just keeping doing the same thing, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think mulch is a capital item because it doesn't last more than a year.
Well, like I say, some do, some don't. It's just,
Wood
Yeah.
mulch does not last more than a year. Equipment repair, you got $52,750, but I don't know what that is.
that's for the different vehicles that we have. Our mowers. We have a fleet of about 10 mowers that we have to repair and keep running throughout the year. One of those, which is the Groundmaster, 14 feet Groundmaster, that knocks out an incredible amount of grass in areas like the annex and different areas throughout the park. And then plus, your zero turns and mowers, and then of course, our dump truck, our pickup truck.
Okay, I'm going to go on the same tangent. Routine maintenance or repair is not a capital item. And this is a capital fund that was voted on by the taxpayers to be used for capital expenses. Routine maintenance or repair is not capital item. If you're replacing an engine in it, I could argue that's a capital item. If you're replacing a belt on it, no. If you're replacing tires on it, no. If you're doing routine maintenance or repair on your vehicles to keep them running, that's not a capital expense.
Well, these are not just replace. This is not just replacement. This is for things that need to keep it running. Certain.
I understand, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
This
That's
is not your routine.
These are not, usually in the past, the equipment repair has not been like routine oil changes,
No,
tires.
we're
They
not talking
are
about oil changes.
big
and things like
okay.
repairs.
So could you provide that detail to us so that we can look at it?
that. Sure. Yeah.
What
these are these are major repair. This is not your oil change, changing your belts.
And that's what I need to see, and
Okay.
so that council knows that they're voting for actual capital items. They're not voting for routine maintenance repairs when they vote for this. The same I would say for miscellaneous repairs. You got 35,500. I have no idea what that is. And when you put repairs on there, I assume it's not a capital item. It's a routine maintenance repair. So again, I'm making an assumption because I don't have the detail that these are not capital expenses. So if we can have that detail,
Sure.
and then we can decipher what is capital expense and what is not. I assume, again, we'll look at those when we get those. So either we can look at them, and if we feel good, we'll say okay. If not, then we might have you come back and we'll have more discussion on that. The total cost you have there is $321,750.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had the same discussion, but they had some carry forward money last year. Their capital fund brings in about $225 to $250.
Right. I'm anticipating, if you looked in the updated 5-year report, I'm anticipating 135,000 that we'll bring in next year. That's down about 12%, and then we're looking at a carryover of about 150,000. We started the year with carryover, and we will not spend all that we spent.
Okay, you answered my question. So you're within that ballpark of what you're carrying forward and what you're going to bring in next year.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Just to be a little selfish for my ward, Strawser Park, is it in the budget? Because I guess you are supposed to be tearing down that bathroom facility there because you can't protect it the way you need to.
Right.
Is that in this to?
Well, that would be a major repair. It would be more than it would be beyond the repair, but no. I mean, it could be used for that. Yes, depending on how everything goes. If we want that, if that's something we really want to do this year.
They said they couldn't put cameras in that facility, and it just keeps getting vandalized. So the last thing I heard in communication was that they were going to tear it down, just be done with it.
Yeah, that's been looked at certainly. Yes.
Okay.
I can't guarantee that it will, but
I hope so. Thank you.
appreciate that.
I do have one other question.
Sure.
It's kind of before you and Clint, because I know that we had talked about redoing restrooms down there. The 4 doors, I assume it's for 2 for the one building and 2 for the other. If we're redoing the one building, I assume you wouldn't need
Yeah, that's a good question.
this money for that.
Yeah, if we redo the lake restrooms, then that money wouldn't be necessary, which would be half of that. So 2 restroom doors by the playground need to be replaced. They're dilapidated. But the lake restrooms, that could be a potential cost covered by ECGP.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Well, thanks. I've been in those seats, and I know it's not all that worthwhile, but appreciate you very much, and have a great night.
Hey, Crystal, on his personnel, I'm sorry, we didn't get to that.
Yes.
And we didn't do the operations either, so I don't know if you're done yet or not. I'm sorry. You jumped right into capital, went right over the operations budget, so I don't know if I have questions in there. I got to go back to that. It's in the personnel where it says codified, it says 0 for recreation office manager. Is that just a typo?
No, that's the way. It's kind of weird because like most of the departments do have it like broken out of exactly what positions we're allowed to hire, but utilities and Parks and Rec does not break it out like that. It will tell you like Parks and Rec director, but it doesn't break out like the number of laborers or anything like that.
Do we need to do that? Should we do that to clean it up?
I don't care if if we feel like we need to do that, we can, but it's not something that would be part of the budget process, like that would be.
Right.
doing-
No, I'm not saying it's part of,
Yeah.
I think just to clean it up. So I don't know if that's HR or Parks and Rec or
Yeah. I mean, you could do
combination,
a
but
committee assignment to do that, break out like the positions, but we do have like union contracts too that break that out, so. I guess it's something that we can definitely look into doing.
okay. Just look, your salaries are jumping almost 10%. Is there a reason? And maybe Crystal knows that better.
There's, and Crystal can jump in. I'm sorry. We've had people who have been here a while. They've moved up steps on longevity.
Okay. Your fringes are dropping slightly, I assume, and it's the insurance. So I think Crystal's already talked about that with the other budgets. I'm looking to see what else I got notes on. Swimming pool going from 66 to 85 for the operating budget. And that's because salaries are going up. So I assume that's similar.
Salaries and chemicals.
Okay.
For the swimming pool, we in the past have dropped the salaries, and then I find we always come back and ask for additional swimming pool money. But we also reevaluate wages at the beginning of the year to determine what those wages are. And it seems like every year we've increased that by $1. $1 doesn't sound like much, but it is a lot when you add every pool employee to that. So I did increase that, and that's something that we can reevaluate too, is the pool salaries. Yeah, I just don't have to keep coming back every year, because that's what we've done for the past 2 years now, is come back and ask for pool money.
Okay, that's all the questions I had on your operations. The rest of it looked okay. Thanks.
Thanks.
Last we have law director.
Hi, guys. My budget is pretty basic. There were several cuts that I tried to make because we did have a substantial increase in our Axia service, which is our IT. I even tried to look at possibly removing that because it is such an expense. However, I found that because of the extreme complexity of the database that we have, and the database was built for the law director's office. So Axia built that for us, and they're servicing that same database. And years ago, we tried to maybe even stop outsourcing the service, but it was just too complex. So that's part of it. Well, in doing that, we found that this year alone, Microsoft has increased their pricing by at least $4,500 just for one service, the Microsoft. So that's gone up. And of course, they're getting rid of the service that we had. So they've updated that, and that would be a one-time installation of $3,500, but it's a one-time fee. And of course, it's being assessed this year in order to use the database. So I've cut quite a few other items trying to reduce the budget as much as possible because of such a substantial increase. I've taken out the handbooks. We used to have the criminal handbooks, the DUI handbooks, the pocket guides. I've removed all of that from the budget because I figure everything is digital now, so we can probably go without that. There's a few other ones. The telephone, of course, has gone up a little bit, but that is the base. That's just operational. Everything else is pretty close to being basic. The contracts, the copy machine lease has gone up slightly, not much, but most everything I've tried to maintain to where it's a minimum operational.
So you're not using any of the hard copy books anymore where you upgrade them with the pocket parts or anything like that?
We did this year, but I'm not going to this year just because no one has ever used those books. And I just feel it's several $1,000s over the year that we're not really using. We do not have any capital items for, we did receive the laptops this year, which brings me to a point that we do have the previous laptops that the law directors were using. So we do have some of those that we do have to have completely washed, but they would still be available for use. They just would not service the database that it would, because they did not have Windows 11. They updated them, but I don't know what the useful life will still be of those. But they're still, like you were saying, we do have laptops that can be reserviced.
Yes, with those and the ones that we have, that might be a good option for council if we wanted to save money that way.
Yeah, if you could, once they're wiped, or if, I don't know, is RIT wiping them or?
Axia will be wiping them.
Okay, once they're wiped, if you can give them to IT and
Sure.
then transfer them over to them, and then they can figure out what the use is, and maybe save us from having to spend money on those.
Yeah, they're still, I mean, they're still nice laptops.
Okay. Yeah, and the only thing I saw was that you had a pretty good decrease in your health insurance, and I assume that's because of personnel.
Yeah, so their health insurance is, they are fully staffed, so it's based upon what they currently are utilizing now. So that would be the true cost, unless
that-
something would change.
That is fortunately because we did, you saw how we structured the assistant law directors. We have 2 part-times in one position. So instead of having 2 healthcare plans, we have 1 for 2 plans. And we also have one of the law director clerks. She does not have the insurance. So salaries have gone down and so has insurance.
So we have one assistant law director who is filling 2 positions.
Yes.
2 part-time positions.
Yes,
So it's basically like a full-time.
yes.
Okay,
But he's using 1 insurance
right.
plan. Mhm.
Okay.
Any questions?
I don't see any questions. I think we're good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Do we just have the one meeting, Councilman?